What's up, Indiana? Welcome to a primetime edition of Indy Sports Nation right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. The Notre Dame women are number one in the country. Purdue is in some trouble, and the racing season is upon us. Lots to discuss. Thanks for joining. Saddle up. Indy Sports Nation, let's go. Hey, good evening and welcome in, everybody. Thank you so much for joining, whether it's live or on the replay. Appreciate it very, very much. Welcome to another episode of Indy Sports Nation. I am your host, Big Mike. Be hanging out with you for the next hour. Coming to you from not the great city of Indianapolis this week. I am mentioned last week on location this week, if you will. I had teased it last week. I might be in a city that is just hosted a massive football game and is getting ready for a lot of parades and a lot of partying and what have you. But here I am with the full-time gig and enjoying some good soul food while I'm down here. So no complaints. But anyway, I hope your week so far has been as good as mine. Scratch that. I hope yours has been better. Got a lot to discuss today, or tonight, I should say, as we do each and every week. Talk the Notre Dame hoops. The women continue to roll. And we'll talk the little post-game presser from Coach Shrewsbury for the men, and we'll get into that a little bit. Talk a little bit Indy Ignite. Got a little Indiana State baseball to discuss. That's a first on this show, so we'll chat about that. Obviously, we'll get into the college hoop scene with Indiana and Purdue. Not going great for either one of them at the moment. And wrap it up with a special guest discussing IndyCar. So we're almost there to race number one. That'll be not this weekend, but next weekend. So thought it'd be a great time to do a little preview there. But before we dive into all of this, as you know, we got to get a word in from our great sponsors. Planet Jerky, Vital Apparel, Seal the Deal Wax Seals, our brand new sponsor, Raw Nutrition, which I'll chat about that on the back side. So let's get these bills paid right quick. And thank you once again for joining me on a primetime edition of Indy Sports Nation right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. We'll be right back.
Hi, eSports Radio fans. This show is brought to you by Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm, single-A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all-brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, and high in protein. Go to their website at planetjerky.net and follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Planet Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet.
Rise and shine. It's 4 a.m. The stars are still out. The sun is beneath the horizon, but it's time to punch in and go to work. The comfort of your warm-ups turns into the grinding out of your reps as the clinking and the clinking of the plates create a symphony of euphoria. There's no other feeling like it. Earn it, burn it, and take what's yours. IE Sports Radio has proudly partnered with Vital Apparel, a brand that not only fits great, but also promotes and donates to mental health research. Use our code IESR to get 15% off their comfortable and inspiring gym wear and help them on their amazing journey to support mental health. Go hard, take part in your iron therapy, and be strong. Because when your mental health is as strong as you are, there's no telling how far you'll go.
Hey there, IE Sports Radio fans. Be sure to check out our sponsor, Seal the Deal Wax Seals by Cecilia B. You just finished your very own wedding or baby shower invitations and you're looking for that extra special touch? Maybe you just wrote a letter to a relative or a friend and you want to add to their smile when they receive it. Then seal the deal with Cecilia's handmade sealing wax stamps for your invitations, letters, and gifts. You bring the deal, we'll bring the seal. You can find them on Instagram at sealthedeal_wax stamps and on Facebook, Seal the Deal Wax Seals.
For the last 10 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. Make sure to follow us at IE Sports Radio on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube to keep up with the latest in sports and with all of our shows. Also, make sure to check out our daily updated website at iesportsradio.com. At iesportsradio.com, you can see our daily show schedule and check out all of our show pages with personal bios to learn a little bit more about each of our awesome hosts. In addition to our show pages, you can catch the IE Sports Radio blog, Hall of Fame, Fans of the Month page, and our merchandise shop including t-shirts, tank tops, caps, long sleeves, hoodies, and more. For now over a decade here at IE Sports Radio, we've continued to be by the fans, for the fans, and we thank you all for your support and for making IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Thank you so much again for tuning in. Much appreciated. Got to give a shout out to our newest sponsor, Raw Nutrition Supplements. Go to getrawnutrition.com. Use promo code IESR for your 10% off. Some of the best supplements out there. Check them out. And if you'd be so kind on the X platform to follow the show page at Indy Sports _IESR. Can also follow me, the personal page at the Chill Mike. Very much appreciated. And here's a new one. And I'm going to reiterate on this one here too. To go find us on YouTube, IE Sports Radio. Check us out, like, subscribe. Huge help. Greatly appreciate that. And the Supporters Club here to support this show. I'll post this on the socials as well, but we got it on the ticker here. Spreaker.com/podcast/Indy-sports-nation. Give the show page some love if you're able. You can become a supporter. I appreciate it immensely. All this does is essentially helps us put on the content, man. That's really it. So Thank you so much. I've been lucky enough to get a few supporters already, so thank you so much to those who support. Would love to get a few more. So if you're able, thank you so very much. It is much appreciated. And as I always say, if you're watching live, hit me up in the comments. Keep them sports, keep them PG. Let's not get crazy here. We got some fun with it, but you know the drill. Boss man's already checking in, man. Let's go indeed, my friend. Let's do this. And Terry always checks in as he does every single time. So appreciate you, brother. Have an amazing show. Thank you so much. Appreciate it, guys. Very, very much. Let's dive into it here. It's funny how this never really happens, but how often do we lead with Notre Dame hoops? You think about it, didn't happen, but a whole lot. However, these women continue to ball out. I have been saying this since started doing this show. We started doing the previews. This is a Final Four caliber team, and they are officially now the #1 team in the land. And they had a battle Monday night. I was fortunate enough to be able to watch this game, and Duke came out just flying around the ball. It was actually fairly impressive. Now, Duke couldn't hit water from a boat, which is unfortunate for them, but they really came out, and just really that defensive tempo kind of got Notre Dame a little bit on the heels, I thought. They were coming out with some full court press, and then they'd tease the press, kind of back off of it, but then half court, they were on you. Just defense up high, and they were able to break through a lot of screens that Notre Dame was trying to set. And it was, if Duke could have shot, if they could have hit water from a boat, they might have had a shot to pull off an upset here. Notre Dame was turning the ball over quite a bit, but so was Duke, to be fair. Now, Hidalgo continues to be her. I have said this all season. She is only, but just to remind you all, she's only a sophomore, and she has scored double digits every game. And she did it again, the other night, 19 points. Wasn't her best shooting night. You can credit some of that to the Duke defense, because I thought Duke's defense was pretty solid. But as a sophomore and double digits every game, it just leads her team again to what was their 18th straight win. But really what happened in this game, Notre Dame started to figure things out a little bit in that second quarter. A little bit, not a ton, but good teams, or do I dare say great teams at this point? They are ranked #1 in the country right now. They adjust a half. And really what became the difference was that third quarter. Notre Dame takes a 2-point lead, which, it's a tie, right? Let's just be real. It's not, but you know what I mean. And then they go 21-8 in the third. And that did it. Duke was not going to come back from that, just simply because they couldn't shoot. I pulled up some stats here. Duke shot 11% from three and 38% from the field. Notre Dame didn't shoot great from the field. They were 40% from the field, but shot 33 from three. So, and really in that third quarter is where Notre Dame started taking better care of the ball, because they were sloppy. Again, credit the Duke defense. They're number 11 in the country for a reason. Notre Dame was able to get the advantage on the boards, get some second chance points. They pull away in the third. Fourth is fairly even. The ladies get a great win. So they continue to roll on at 23-2. They will go to Miami. I believe that will be tomorrow. Yes, tomorrow night. It's on the ACC network, so hardly anybody will see it. But nonetheless, they're battling. I neglect to mention Citron, who stepped up for them as well the other night, with Miles not having her best points night. So another good effort from the Notre Dame ladies. They're going to have they go to Miami and then to NC State. So I think they have a couple. Miami doesn't really worry me a whole heck of a lot. They're hovering around 500, but NC State, 20-5, going to a hostile environment there. That could be a tough one. So we'll see. We'll keep you updated on how they continue to perform. Meanwhile, the men have not had quite the success. They have lost 4 or 5, and were handled by Louisville. And I don't know if you're able to watch it. There was probably as many Louisville fans there as there were Notre Dame fans, but you know how this goes. You kind of got to give your reason to give your fans a reason to show up, right? This was not, not ideal. I mean, I don't think at one point anybody thought Notre Dame was going to win this game as this game progressed. And Burton with an okay night with 22 points, not his best shooting night, but it just not good. But I think the story is, if you haven't seen this, I'm going to tell you to go dig it up. Coach Shrewsbury went off at the presser, after the game, and it gave me, when I listened to it, it was actually pretty good at first. I mean, he was kind of going off and talking about don't give up on the kids, don't give up on the kids. Good bet, all good stuff, right? We all kind of like hearing that from our coach. And then at the end, he kind of started making it more about him and him, and it gave me the, if you all remember the Mike Gundy deal back in the, what was that, like 10, 15 years ago? I can't remember off the top of my head, but head coach at Oklahoma State football, where he's just going off and about this reporter who's spewing inaccurate crap, and then he just went off on that thing. Goes, "I'm a man. I'm 40. You get your facts straight." Whatever. I'm paraphrasing that, but you know exactly what I'm talking about. So go watch that and go dig it up on YouTube, and then go watch Shrewsbury. He just starts pounding his chest in the last, I don't know, maybe 30 seconds, and starts basically saying, I'm going to paraphrase here, don't come back when we do turn this thing around, kind of just crapping on everybody. And, we're going to turn around, and, we don't come back here. Don't be coming back after we start winning and we turn this around, blah, blah, blah. And then he slaps the microphone and just storms off. And it, I don't know, it kind of, my first, again, I was with him. I mean, I got it what he was saying initially for they said it's about a 2-minute, 40-second deal, I think, something around there. And for most of it, I was with him. And then he just kind of, I don't know, it's almost like he went on to do business for himself or whatever. But it's always a good, hey, I encourage you, if you haven't seen it, go see it or go view it. I mean, I don't know why we all love a good head coach going nuts at a presser, whether it's, we just do. I mean, I know I do. I think most of us do. So, but also it's frustration, right? I mean, they showed a little bit of promise there, and, said the whole year they're still a year away. But, I think there's some areas some areas I thought they would get better at. And they don't really know they have, haven't been able to put really any more wins together either. So it makes it a little bit rough there. But definitely go watch this if you can. It's worth the couple minutes of your time. So with that, I want to move on real quick before we get to our first break. Just quick note on the Indy Ignite. They fall to Atlanta since the last time we spoke. 5 sets, unfortunate one. That was, remember, Minna was out, and she's been she's their outside hitter. And, I me, I'm not making excuses. I'm not going to make excuses because, it's next woman up in this case, right? And, they just couldn't quite get it done, but heck of a battle. I mean, 5 sets, 30-28, 19-25, 18-25, 25-22, and then lost a heartbreaker in the third set, or the fifth set, rather, 13-15. Having your key piece out, I mean, she's been a rock for this team the entire season and will continue to be. They do get the rematch with Atlanta tomorrow night. As of this point, I am not sure. There's been no reports if she will be back. It is an ankle injury. Didn't really say. It doesn't sound like it's a high ankle sprain or anything of that nature, so it doesn't sound overly super serious. But cards are kind of kept close to the chest at the moment, so we will see. They'll make that announcement at some point tomorrow. But in the meantime, libero Kylie Muir has been added to the All-Star roster, and the All-Star game is this weekend at the Fishers Event Center. So I'm bummed. I'll be still be in the South doing my full-time gig here, but I wish I could have been up there for that. That'd have been fun to watch. But always nice to get another player from your roster onto the All-Star squad. So that's 4 for the Indy Ignite. So good start to the inaugural season, I think. I mean, they're 500, but they've lost a few tough ones and bright future the rest of the way. I'm really excited to see what they can put together the rest of the season. So, on that note, we will get our first break in. Go talk a little bit. I mentioned we'll talk some Sycamores. We got to share a little stat with you on them if you haven't heard. Talk quick note on the Pacers. Talk a little Purdue IU, and then get into the good racing here. So, thanks for joining me. Another primetime edition of Indy Sports Nation. We'll be right back.
Sports fans, do you like teams that are tough, cities that are tougher, and fan bases that are passionate about their teams? How about teams that are historic and stadiums that are iconic? Then you belong in Chicago, and you need to check out Chi-Town Weekly. Join me, Adam Kernick, every week as we keep up with all things Chicago sports. Bears, Bulls, Blackhawks, Cubs, White Sox. We'll cover them all, plus more. The Windy City is always buzzing, and we'll keep you up on all the big games and major stories. So tune in to Chi-Town Weekly every week right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
What's up, guys? If you're looking for the best coverage of all Northern California sports, including 49ers, Giants, Warriors, then check out the NorCal Sports Report with yours truly, Andre Fernandez, every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Pacific Time, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. We have guests every single week talking 49ers, Giants, Warriors, Sharks, San Jose Earthquakes, and a whole lot more, plus 3C2A. You do not want to miss this show. So tune in Wednesdays at 11 a.m. Pacific Time to the NorCal Sports Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. What's up?
All right, welcome back, everybody. Thank you so much again for tuning in. Whether it's live or on the replay, thank you so very much. I wanted to make this note real quick about Indiana State. Now, we haven't talked a lot of Indiana State on this program. In fact, someone out of market probably don't even know who they are or if they even existed. But I digress. We haven't talked a ton about them. Smaller D1, Missouri Valley Conference team. Had a nice NIT run last year in there with hoops, but baseball team's been fairly solid the past few years, and we haven't been able to talk a ton of baseball on this show solely for the fact that obviously no major league teams in the state of Indiana, so therefore we don't spend a ton of time. But I do want to note that they had a 3-game set with Wagner, where they and if you're watching live, you see the score on the ticker here. It's pretty crazy, but they won game 2, 16-6. So that's enough of a whooping, right? Quite the offensive output. But then came back in the third game, and yes, I guess this is no joke, 36-6 over Wagner. They set a D1 record by scoring 20 runs in the third inning. The entire lineup all batted twice. I think it was 21 consecutive in the third inning. Yeah, my notes at 21 consecutive. So new D1 record for the 20 runs. It was held by Clemson before, who had 19. And then they turned around and added 10 runs in the fifth. And he had 16 batters at the plate. So we'll get to more baseball, as it progresses. Obviously, we're getting that time of the year, right? We got MLB and spring training getting going, and so we got obviously Indiana State's got a decent squad the past few years. IU has had some decent teams in the past, and so we'll get into that more and more as we go forward. But that happened. I was like, I got to share this. This is nuts. I mean, a 36-6 whooping, not something you see every day, and obviously Indiana State of all teams breaking a D1 record. I'm like, well, that's pretty. I thought that was kind of cool. So more to come on the college baseball in the coming weeks. But another real quick note: now that the All-Star break is done, Pacers get back in action tomorrow night, hosting Memphis, who is number 2 or second in the West. Start of a 4-game homestand, which is not an easy homestand. So you've got Memphis coming in, you got Clippers coming in, the Nuggets, and then of course the Raptors. But still, that Nuggets Clippers, you got a back-to-back. They're doing a 5 p.m. Sunday to a 7 p.m. Monday. So thank you, schedule makers, for that. For me, I mentioned this last week. I really want to see what kind of energy these the Pacers come out with. They just kind of look tired to me before the break. I was noticing people like TJ McConnell, who is always a ball of energy off the bench, kind of missing shots short, which typically is one of your first signs of you're tired, right? You're just tired, wobbly legs going. So, but this is not an easy start out of the gate, and we know that February has not been kind necessarily to the Pacers. So we'll talk more on them next week after this gauntlet of 4 games coming up. But I'm curious too, by the way, if you it's live, feel free to comment, replay. Hit me on the socials. Does anybody even watch the NBA All-Star Game anymore, or even like the festivities? I stopped watching forever ago. Nobody. I mean, occasionally you might see the 3-point contest, but that'd be about it. Like nobody's in a dunk contest anymore. That everybody's bowed out of that years ago, and the game itself is just, I don't know, man. I don't really find it entertaining to me. So that being said, hit the comments real quick. I'll tear with the volleyball talk. Yes, he's right. Dave Shondoff, head coach of Purdue, will be coaching one of the teams at the All-Star game. So appreciate him bringing that up. I forgot to mention that, but that is absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. So with that, let's catch up on a little bit more hoop before we bring in we take our last break and bring our guest in to take us home the rest of the way. IU, unfortunately, being IU. And we were discussing this last week about could they possibly make a at-large run here? Because with that nice win over Michigan State, they got to follow it up with a win at home against UCLA, and had a nice rally in the second half. But yet again, in another situation where they just couldn't put it together when they needed to put it together at the end. Got themselves to a 10-point deficit in the first half. And again, rallied. Just, not enough. And kind of the story of the season, right? Had some decent performances. Oh, Goody's been playing better basketball. And, if he keeps this thing going this weekend at Purdue, I still think IU's going to win this one. And we'll get to Purdue here shortly. But, IU showed some matchup issues in the last game at Mackey that Purdue struggled with. IU just couldn't take care of the ball at the other day. So, you would hope IU takes care of the ball because they're not shooting it. Still not shooting it that well. I mean, Goody had an off night from this. I mean, he'd been shooting better from outside the arc, but he was still had an off night. But overall, I'm saying he's playing better basketball. He's becoming more and more a leader on the court, which they need. And Renew coming off the bench at 14, good performance from him. And Baco's still kind of doing his thing, but not a great shooting day, I should say, for the Hoosiers. And again, 40% from the field, and 24% from three. So that's not going to win you a ton of games, especially against a quality opponent. But they get some time off this week. They'll be hosting Purdue on Sunday, so we'll have round 2 of the in-state rivalry, and we'll get to Purdue here real quick in a second. But since we're on the topic of IU, the coaching chatter still is out there, as you can imagine. We got I mentioned last week, Brad Stevens was on the list, of course, and he was pretty quick to make a statement saying he is not a candidate, and all I can say to that is duh. No, that wasn't going to happen. Dusty May's name is still there, and I'm not sure why he would leave Michigan. Honestly, I mean, is IU going to give him a better, setup? Michigan's got a ton of resources. Oh, by the way, he's got his team at top of the Big Ten. Some will say, well, Mike, he's closer to home. Well, he had a chance to take the Louisville job and didn't. And that'd have been closer to home too. I don't know. I'm not ruling it out. It's possible. I'd be surprised. Mick Cronin's name's come up. Actually, it was an article in the Indianapolis Star this past week about him as the possible replacement for Mike Woodson. Okay. I mean, he's got a decent record as UCLA's head coach. I don't know that would get the base all jacked up, excited. Scott Drew is another one. Indiana ties. Those are the kind of 3 names you hear. Chris Beard is one I mentioned, but sources coming out now saying that his past is his past, and even though he's legit past that at this point, it feels like that from an IU perspective, it might be haunting him still a little bit. I don't know, but obviously we'll keep our eyes on that. We'll keep we'll keep you updated and what have you. It'll be interesting to see. I mean, it's going to be a while, obviously. Depending on how quick the IU season ends. Which at this point, this is a bummer of a loss, because really I felt that they win this game and they were to beat Purdue this weekend. Now all of a sudden, their end of the season schedule is not that difficult. They could rack up some wins and get a streak going. Could find themselves in the tournament, but this one hurt. But they got a Purdue team that's railing right now, and so maybe not over yet. But it's looking really. I think the percentage I saw earlier this week was about a 40% chance now after this loss. So they're going to have to win some games and probably win a couple in the Big Ten tournament to have a shot. So, but with that being said, we'll make one more. We'll touch on. Unfortunately, this is not been a good stretch for Purdue basketball. Oh man. Purdue has now lost 3 straight. And for those of you who are keeping track, that has not happened, I believe, in 5 years. So Purdue fans are kind of like, what's going on here? And this isn't something that Purdue fans have seen for quite some time. It's just, and look, I mean, the Michigan loss I thought was bad. I mean, that was one that they had, and they should have closed that out. I know there's a lot of people blaming the officials, even last night. You can see Matt Painter getting a little bit more animated with the officials than he normally does. That to me is just some frustration coming up there. I mean, look, calls go against you and for you every game. You can't. It just is what it is. Purdue has been a team that, especially last year, they were getting calls. Unfortunately, it's just kind of how it works. Because right now, you look at the calls that they get. Braden Smith gets a lot of calls, but that's about it. It's just kind of one of those things you kind of have to establish yourself, right? And that's what they're missing right now. They don't have that guy, a stopper down low. And Michigan State exploited that. And IU will probably do the same this weekend. So it's going to be up to, obviously Coach Painter to make his adjustments, but they got to get production. I mean, Painter can put together a game plan and do his thing like he usually does. I still say he's one of the best coaches out there. But you can't get 9 points from your bench. I mean, Colvin, 0 points. Only played 9 minutes, but 0 points. Harris had 3. Bird with 2. Heidi with 6. Heidi played 20 minutes. And here we go again. I've been saying this on Blue in the Face. Kaufman Wren, 24 points. Braden Smith, 17 points. Where's everybody else? Let's take a look here. Lawyer, 8 in 31 minutes. Okay. CJ Cox, 3. First 3. Takes more than 2. You're not going to beat a whole lot of teams with just 2 guys coming out every night, or most every night. I mean, Purdue, look at your field goal percentage wasn't awful. 51%. They're a little bit better from 3 this game, 37, a little better. But the issue is Michigan State was shot almost 60%, and that was all mostly near the rim. Athletic team, big dudes. Said it all season. Teams like that can rebound and play good defense, and our athletes, that's going to be a recipe to beat Purdue this year, and it has been. I mean, that's, 3 straight. So, and now going into rival IU, who's really kind of, I don't know if they have a whole lot to lose, or probably a little peeved about the last time at Mackey. So Purdue's got to figure it out, and I know they're young. I'm not trying to. I was having a very respectful debate with a good friend of mine last night. It was like, oh, I just hope Braden Smith comes back. I hope Braden Smith comes back. I'm like, I think he does. I mean, I could be wrong. I could be wrong. I don't think he's quite ready yet. He needs to shoot from outside the arc better, in my opinion. Just my opinion. I mean, he does a lot of good things. Orchestrates very, very well. It's great vision. No doubt about it. He's an assist machine. He can do some great things, but I don't like him shooting much by the arc. He'll hit those 15-foot jumpers, no problem. He can do that. But 3 games for me is not quite where it needs to be. Just again, that's just my opinion. So I'm hopeful he comes back one more year. I mean, because again, you're bringing everybody back. You got a sharpshooter who's been redshirted, and you have Jacobson, who's a defensive guy down low, and that's what they're missing. So, but all news going to kind of be a down year for Purdue, comparative to past years. But your thing is, when you're having this much success, it's kind of just you want to keep it. You're there, and you're this close. I mean, you're this close to winning another Big Ten, and it just kind of went through your fingers. So, and that got the comments going. Anytime you get IU Purdue talking, I always Yep, Evans should leave Fletcher alone. I like the kid. I do, but he's got to be more consistent. Charlie Chicken, Zach Edey whistle gone. The ref still helping. George is still on his bandwagon about the officials having a nice Purdue assist on the last win. Dude, quit. Don't turn the ball over 20 times. IU literally, all they had to do is not turn it over 20 times. They turned it over 16 or 17 and they win that game. So I said they'll probably win Sunday too, just because of the way Purdue's playing right now. They're just not. I don't know. It's just something's off there. And again, and as I mentioned, I keep mentioning it. You can't win with 2 guys, and Lawyer at times. That's just kind of it's just what it is. And just to kind of reiterate the point, it's just what you expect when you have success like Purdue's had in recent years. You're still expected to find ways to win games like that, and it's not quite happening for them right now. So we'll see if they can pick it up and salvage it. I'm not going to sit there and say go full on panic mode. I still think it's a decent team, but they just got a lot of work to do. It goes without saying. So on that note, we're going to take our last break, and then we'll get in some fun IndyCar chat on the other side. Thanks again for joining me here, Big Mike, Indy Sports Nation. We'll be right back.
It's IE Sports Radio. It is your direct feed for all that is sports. It is Philly Sports Talk with Cash
and Chris every Tuesday night right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Philly Sports Talk with Cash and Chris is the most comprehensive view on Philadelphia sports exclusively right here on IE Sports Radio. You know what it is, your direct feed for all that is sports. Tuesday night, IE Sports Radio, Philly Sports Talk with Cash and Chris.
Everybody, this is Darren Rodriguez. Are you a fan of volleyball? Are you a fan of Thunderous Spikes? Then I have the show for you, Set Point, where I cover NCAA men's and women's volleyball, high school boys and girls volleyball, beach volleyball, and even professional volleyball. Catch the action every week here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
All right, welcome back. Last break of the show. So with that said, we got to bring on our special guest for this evening. He is a proud Butler University alum, I'm gonna say an Indy car semi-historian. And I can think of something good later. We'll joke about that in a minute. So let's welcome in Rick. Rick, how the heck are you, buddy?
I'm doing fine. How about yourself?
Cannot complain. How cold is it there, by the way?
It's pretty chilly, and I think we're getting some snow.
Yeah, it's down here. It's funny down here because, you know, I might as well just go and say I'm in New Orleans, and people, it's like 50, okay, and it's kind of windy, and everybody's wearing beanies and like big Arctic gear, and
yeah, right.
Yeah, it's a little comical coming from the Midwest, but. Anyway, man, well, thanks for making the time.
Thanks for having me.
Anytime, man. Anytime. So real quick before we jump into some IndyCar, so Butler, I didn't get a chance to talk a whole lot about the Bulldogs, but got a win over Georgetown, lost to the evil Xavier.
Yeah, it was not a good showing last night.
No, but how you feel about the future here? Because there's some good recruits we've seen coming in, some good young guys, but that stick around, or what are you seeing happening there?
I think that's probably sticking around for at least one more year. He has the best recruiting class Butler has ever had. Three pretty good recruits, but he's gonna have some big holes to fill too, because we're losing our two leading scorers,
right.
Our big man.
Yep.
They just got to play better.
Yeah, they got to. Yeah.
Last night was Telford scored points. Brooks scored points. They got some good play out of Bizjack, and everyone else that played had one or fewer baskets. So they're not getting any bench help.
No.
Patrick McCaffrey was 0 for the night. Can't have that.
Nope.
So just need better play.
Yeah, it's been a struggle for them all year. I mean, just getting consistent.
And Telford's getting double teamed. I mean, he was getting double teamed all the time. I mean, they weren't even making any bones about it.
Right.
And he still scored it. He's scoring 20 points a game, getting double teamed like that all the time. Or I guess it's like 18 points a game, but
right. Well, we got some viewers checking in already, so you've already got a fan club there, Rick. How about that?
Yeah, thank you, Emma.
And IndyCar historian and Jello Shot Master Chef. We might have to give that to Deb, but that's all right.
Yeah, I'm I'm more of a partaker.
Yeah, same here. Same here. Well, on that note, let's jump into some IndyCar, man. Obviously, we got St. Pete coming up here on the 2nd. Cannot wait for that. So, got some few things to dive into here. So, just first and foremost, everybody, Rick. Correct me if I'm wrong here. I believe you've been to every Indy 500 since '80.
Since 1980.
All right.
Well, barring the COVID year.
Barring the COVID, yeah. Well, we're not counting that. So, all right.
Nope,
so that's
nobody went to that.
Correct. So that's why I noted historian, just because he's seen a few races. So let's dive in. So, what are your thoughts on the new deal with Fox?
Fox is doing a great job of promoting it. The commercials they were showing during Super Bowl and all were pretty entertaining. So yeah. I think they're doing a better job of getting promoted than what they were before. So it should be interesting.
Yeah, even for those who watched the Daytona 500, you had Scott Dixon and your buddy Joseph Newgarden there. And that might be the last time you hear the last name Newgarden on the show, by the way, folks. But we'll dive into that later. But no, I'm agree with you. I mean, I'm seeing the schedule come out. It's like FS2s will be covering some practices. You have quals mostly on FS1, and then obviously every race on Fox. So I think it's going to be great for the series.
It's going to be easier for people to watch than when it was on Peacock.
Correct. And so I think this is going to be a win-win. I think for the IndyCar series.
For sure.
So I'm looking forward to that. So Alex, this has been basically the championship has been some would say the Alex Palou Invitational as of late. And you see him. If for those of you who aren't familiar with him, Google him. He looks like he's about 16 years old. The scary thing is he's a very, very young dude. Can he do this again this year?
He wasn't as dominant last year, but the dude just doesn't make mistakes.
That's just it. He's just Mr. Consistency, man.
Yeah, I mean he's very consistent. I think he only had like one accident last year, and it wasn't his fault. Car broke.
Yeah. I mean, he's just consistently. You're right. Top 5, top 10. Some
of the other drivers, the Penske drivers, they kind of shot themselves in the foot several times. I mean, McLaughlin was winning Detroit and put himself out.
Yep.
He was having a good race in Toronto, and Power put him out. Power's done, did a few things that didn't, weren't helpful to himself.
Right.
And of course, the big seatbelt incident at Nashville was when Palou had problems getting his car started that race. Again, not his fault, but they were having problems, and they were, opened the door for Power to take the championship, and then seatbelt broke.
Yeah, I remember talking about that. When I first started doing this show, I'm like, wow, what a way to go out. I mean, everything was just lining up for Power to possibly pull this thing off, and then a seatbelt of all things, of absolutely all things.
And McLaughlin was right there the all season, and like I said, he had some issues, and then the disqualification early in the year, plus he followed that up with I think a DNF, an early out. So he started way in the hole. Yeah, and he almost dug himself out. He was just, Palou's too consistent.
Yeah, that's just it. And Scotty Mack, I mean, I feel like this could be, if he could start off better this season, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying he's got to come out and, win first few races, but man, it just seems like even the year prior, if I'm recall right, he had a little bit of a slow start and kind of had a strong middle and strong finish.
Yeah. He's just got to put a full season together.
Yeah, and it needs.
And I think he's certainly capable of it.
Oh, I do too.
I think last year he was probably overall the most dominant driver out there.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, hard to argue that. Yeah. I do think this could be his year, potentially. mean, so many good drivers out there. I mean, who the heck? I mean,
yeah. There's a lot of good drivers. The problem is there's only a few good teams.
That's just exactly it. And that was the lead in my next question.
It's really, the Ganassi and Penske show, and
right.
McLaren's trying to bust in,
right,
and Andretti's trying to have a few good moments. They did late in the season. I mean,
they did.
Colton Hurd is another one who's his team and himself shot themselves in the foot several times.
Yeah, yes, they did. As you and I always joke, if Andretti would stop stepping on their junk, then they might
right.
They might have had a little bit more success. So let me ask you this: taking Ganassi and Penske out of it, because we know those are the two dominant ones. Do you see a dark horse this year? Because I'm seeing some people think Meyer Shank could maybe surprise some people.
They've got some good drivers.
They do.
I think Rosenquist is due for a win. He's been strong. I mean, he's not Penske or Ganassi, but Pato is right there all the time too.
And always there.
And Lundgaard, he's got a good team, a really good team with him now. It'd be interesting to see what he can do too.
Well, I mean, I'm interested to see what a lot of these guys can do, because obviously we had another silly, quote unquote, silly off season, right?
Where there's a lot of
movement.
There's a couple good drivers that didn't make the show.
Right.
Linus Lundqvist had a great year last year and couldn't get a ride this year. And Grosjean, he off and on. He had some moments last year.
Mm-hmm.
And he's on the sideline too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Got new teams. Prima, that should be interesting.
Prima.
Callum Ilott coming back.
Yep.
And another old face is Devlin DiFrancesco.
Yes.
I didn't really see that one coming, but there were rumors that his family was interested in buying out Juncos Tollinger.
Right.
So, but I guess that didn't happen either.
Right. Speaking of Hollinger, have you heard any more of the rumor about possibly pulled sponsorship?
All I'd heard was that Polka Dot had pulled out, but Daly's still driving for him at Sebring this week.
Right. Yeah, that would be a bummer for
and as I understand, he did quite well.
Yeah,
at Sebring for him.
Yeah, absolutely correct. He did, and that would be a bummer for those who aren't familiar, or maybe are out of market. Right. Connor Daly's a local boy. Yeah.
Right. He showed he can do what he can do.
Oh, absolutely. I tell you what, if he was ever come to the, talking, jumping back a little bit to the Indy 500, I don't know if that place would be louder if he won, or like Pato, one of those two. I mean, you're going to hear the loudest cheer, I think, of any Indy 500 ever, outside of maybe when Kanaan won.
I think we've talked about this a few times recently, but he's led as many laps at the Indy 500 as Joseph Newgarden.
Yes, yeah.
Unfortunately, he hasn't led the right one, but
correct. He's not led the ones at the end are the ones that matter, unfortunately. But that was a wild stat. That
right.
I was like, wow.
I was really surprised that Newgarden was so far down the list.
Yeah. Well, he's say what you want about him, and a lot of us still say a lot of things good. But he's been at the right places at the right time. Is why he's done it back to back, unfortunately. For us.
Yeah, the other thing is that, he had that Indy 500 win, and really he faded badly at the end of the season last year.
Yep. Yeah, he did. Couple last things here right quick. I just want to get your thoughts too. You got Rossi driving for Carpenter, and I make jokes about Rossi a lot too, but that's neither here nor there. But obviously, I was bringing him up because he's a fairly popular driver. I feel about this move for him, and good, bad, and different.
Well, I mean, I think it was he had to do something, because he was I think he got left out on the ride he was hoping for.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a tough deal. I think it felt like the ink had just dried on the aero deal, and then next thing you know, he's out.
Yeah. Yep, that was so. I mean, he landed on his feet. Unfortunate for VK,
Right.
but VK seems he to the last minute ended up with Dale Coyne, so he's there, and he's run well with Dale Coyne in testing.
Yes.
So
yeah,
Dale Coyne's kind of one of those is an odd team. It's like they don't do anything for a long time, and then suddenly here they are competing.
Yeah.
That's who Pelot started with.
Correct.
So
I hope that continues, because I think that's what could really make this series a lot of fun this year. If we can get, obviously, we know it's like, as we talked about a few minutes ago, it's Penske, Ganassi. That's kind of what it's been. But God, I would just love to see Andretti just stop making their dumb mistakes and see the Myers Shake boys get a few wins. Even if it's on road or street courses, whatever.
Yeah. Marcus Armstrong apparently did really well at Sebring as testing as well.
Yep.
So that's a good sign for Myers Shank.
Yeah, and I think that's part of the reason that people are kind of picking him as a dark horse, and they could maybe sneak in some wins here and at least keep Roger and Chip on their toes. But time will tell.
It doesn't hurt that they're engineering with Ganassi.
No, that definitely doesn't hurt.
And again, AJ Foyt Racing could be really good too. I mean, Malukas is showing he can drive.
Yep,
and
that was a good get.
Ferrucci, if he can concentrate on driving instead of trying to piss people off, maybe it's a good thing for him. Grosjean isn't in the.
Oh yeah, that's
isn't in the series. But yeah, he had a couple really good runs.
He did. I almost hope Grosjean was still around though, because I almost think they could do some NASCAR like promoting. I was just waiting for the time on pit lane. Those guys start duking it out. It would get viewers at least if all else. All right. So last one for anybody. Is there a particular driver that you think we could all be watching out for this year? Whether it's the rookie or it's Abel or something like that, or if it's just maybe
I think the rookie
probably has his year. Like, what do you think?
I think the rookies are going to have a tough go. They're not on real strong teams.
Agreed.
But just be consistent, and you can do all right.
Yeah,
I think Pato's the guy you got to look out for this year. He's more than due.
He's definitely more than due.
Yeah, he's well liked.
Yeah, I think
quietly Pelot does a great job. So, that's who you got to aim for.
Yep.
I'd like to see Pelot win the Indy 500. So he at least has that going for him.
Right.
As well.
And he's had some good cars at that track too, and just didn't work out for whatever reason. But you know what they always say about the 500. The track chooses the winner.
Yeah, well, he's had a couple bad luck incidents out there.
He has without a doubt. I think Pato's a good pick. I know he's the most popular driver in the series. I think has been the past couple of years. I could see Scotty Mack too.
Yeah, I think he's due as well.
Yeah.
Interesting. We haven't even brought up Scott Dixon.
I know. He's at one point, arguably the best driver in the world, and we haven't even spoke about him until now.
Yeah, he had quite a bit of bad luck last year.
He did.
So
he's had but he's still the man.
Yeah, he's still definitely got the talent and the speed, pace to do it.
And who saves fuel like him, by the way? That dude, I don't know if he's got fuel with him. He's just citing.
Yeah, I don't know how he does it.
I have no idea how he does it, but I've never seen he'll have enough gas to last like 2 miles and somehow he'll make it last 20. But hey, that's why he's a legend. Can still do it.
Right.
So, well, man, I will let you get back to it. We're at the hour mark here, so appreciate you taking the time to join me, my friend. And we'll have to do it again when this series gets going and talk a little more racing and see if any of our little quasi predictions come true.
All right. Well, thanks for having me.
Anytime, buddy. We'll see you soon. Thanks for coming on.
Oh, you're welcome.
All right, folks, that is going to that's going to wrap it up here for a primetime edition of Indy Sports Nation. I want to thank everybody so much. Appreciate all the comments. Appreciate the IE Sports Radio family being able to be willing to work with me here and let me come to you tonight. Just because of the crazy full-time schedule at the moment. But quick little programming note. We will be back with you next Friday. So we'll be back at the normal day. It'll just be a little bit later. So it'll be another primetime edition, 7 p.m. Next Friday. We will have a lot to discuss. So a lot of hoops. And now that Pacers will be back in play, and value Purdue, and it's a lot to talk about. So really looking forward to it. So thank you so much again. Last little comment, Taryn checking in. Great show and guest. Thank you so much. Big shout out to Rick for taking the time to join me, talk some IndyCar. We'll have him back on at some point. But in the meantime, I'm going to sign off here. You guys have a great night, great rest of the week. I will see you all next week right here. Big Mike signing off, Indy Sports Nation right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Have a great night, everybody.